2017 to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Cheryl, you want to do the swearing in? She is. Cheryl, will you please call the roll?
Yes, sir. Trustee Smith?
Here.
Trustee Austin?
Here.
Trustee Leron Ehrlich?
Here.
Trustee Katie Burek? Here. Trustee Nick Ehrlich?
Here.
Mayor Woodcock?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Eastman? Here.
Agenda approval. Does anyone have any additions or deletions to the agenda? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Citizens' comments. Citizens' comment is the point in the meeting where the public is invited to address the town board on any items except agenda items for which there is a public hearing. Public comment on public hearing items will occur during the scheduled public hearing. All comments should be directed to the town board. Please come to the podium, state your name, and the town board may take no decision nor action during the citizens' comments. Any citizens' comments? Crickets? Nope. Minutes of the previous meeting. Is there any discussion or comments on the minutes? If acceptable, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of July 16th, 2017 Board of Trustees meeting.
July 26th,
What did I say?
16th.
26.
Mayor, I'd like to make a comment. Mrs. Burek wasn't here for the meeting, was she? 26.
It says she was absent.
Well, it says in the roll call that Burek. So, if we could get that removed, but. More.
Anything else?
Besides that, I'd approve the minutes.
Do I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Something new for the agenda is the Town Administrator's Report by Milliken's Town Administrator, Leonard Weiss.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I've been here 13 days, so I don't have much to report. Still learning the town and the staff and what's happening. It's been a fun 3 weeks. A lot of things on the to-do list that we need to get done. And earlier today, we started our budget process for the 2018 budget, and we'll be working on that quite regularly for the next 3 months, probably. So, other than that, nothing else, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. Nothing on the consent agenda. We'll move on to the action agenda. Action agenda item number 1, continuation of public hearing on ordinance 751, amending chapter 16, article 3, section 540 of the Milliken Municipal Code. The time is 6:36, and I'm going to open the public hearing. Will Jennifer please come on up?
Mayor, members of the board, this is the continuation of the hearing for ordinance 751 to correct the text amendment portion of our land use code, the text amendment notification period. It's a pretty basic ordinance. What we did is changed our text amendment notification period to 15 days from, I believe it was 30 days before, so that we can get code text amendments pushed through a little quicker. And also the language was very confusing between the rezoning or map amendments and the text amendments on what was required for notification, so we cleaned up that language. I don't know if Linda wants to add anything to it, but that was the basic premise of this ordinance.
Well, and just to further explain, and I think we've mentioned this before, that the town's code had a 30-day notification requirement, which is twice the length of time required under state law, and is probably twice the amount of time that other municipalities have incorporated in their code for text amendments and zoning map amendments. So what was happening here is everything was being delayed by another 30 to 60 days, which doesn't appear to be consistent with the town's new comp plan that is looking for economic development opportunities and just to have a more contemporary, planning and land use process that's more user-friendly. So my recommendation had been all along to be consistent with state statute and other municipalities and reduce that time frame to 15 days. And it's still required to have a public hearing before Planning Commission as well as the board. So there's still ample opportunity for public input.
Any questions from the public? You guys have any questions you want to ask now? No. 6:38, I'm going to close the public hearing on action item number 1, continuation of public hearing on ordinance 751, amending chapter 16, article 3, section 540 of the Milliken Municipal Code.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion, after examination of the documents presented and hearing testimony, the Board of Trustees finds the application meets the provisions of the Town of Milliken's Land Use Development Code and recommends approval of Ordinance 751 to amend Section 16-3-540 of the Land Use Code.
Second. Yeah.
The town clerk, please call for the vote.
Mayor Pro Tem Meisner,
Yes.
Trustee Austin,
Yes.
Trustee Smith,
Yes.
Trustee Lemon Ehrlich,
Yes.
Mayor Woodcock,
Yes.
Trustee Nick Ehrlich,
Yes.
Trustee Bureau.
Yes.
Action item number 2, public hearing and consideration and approval of site plan application for property in C4 Service Business Zoning District. The time is 6:40, and I'm going to open the public hearing.
Mayor and members of the board, we're just having a side conversation because I realize that the applicant or applicant's representative isn't here. And it's really their burden of proof to establish that the site plan meets the criteria under the land use code. So I guess you can hear a presentation from Jennifer Gardner as the town's planner. But I'll leave it within your discretion whether you want to move forward in making a decision.
Keep going.
Okay. Mayor and members of the board, we're here to talk about the Frank property, commercial site plan application. As you all know, it's Lot 3 Dove Valley, located at the northwest corner of Quintin and Inez. This application is to consider a request for site plan approval. The property is about plus or minus 2 acres. It's a little under 2 acres. The property was rezoned C4 in February of 2017. And under the conditions of approval of that application was to submit a site plan application within 90 days, which the applicant did comply with. And the reason for that was when we rezoned to C4, then the property was out of compliance with the commercial zoning regulations. So that's what the site plan was, to bring them up into compliance. Do you want to see that, Leonard? So the improvements that are proposed with this site plan are to add concrete aprons and landscaping at the access points. Those really dark hatched areas are the concrete aprons. Right now, their access points are undefined, so they have like 200 feet wide access is what it appears. So we said you need to narrow that down. They agreed upon 50 feet. And you'll see later in the landscape plan, they have landscaping on either side of those entries and some large boulders, similar to what they've done out at West Rock, to kind of give that same feel. So the concrete aprons extend 20 feet into the property from the edge of asphalt, and the main purpose of that is so that they're not dragging gravel onto our asphalt roadway. They have proposed a privacy fence along the north property line, that dark line along the north property line. It sets in from the property line. And they are going to be proposing an 8-foot fence, which our code allows for 6 foot unless they submit a building application for hire, and they're doing a 1-foot mound and then an 8-foot fence to try to give privacy from the neighbors to the north. And that will help screen all of the vehicles and storage on site. That ties into the next item with the mound, and then they have done landscaping all the way around, which you'll see on the landscape plan. We had them define the parking areas so that they can't just park willy-nilly all over. So this hatched area to the west is supposed to be their truck parking area, whereas the existing smaller building in the north southeast corner, that's where we have had them define their employee parking. They are not going to be paving. They're going to just have the current gravel surface. It's an all-weather gravel surface, and we've informed them of the specifications to meet code, and they will be meeting code on that. So there won't be any striping where the employee parking is, but they will have signage to identify the handicap parking space. So that's kind of what we've asked for them to do to bring the site into compliance with our commercial standards. The application was reviewed against technical criteria in the code by staff and referral agencies. We did get on their first site plan, we got quite a few comments back that wasn't quite up to par, and so we really pushed for it to be a good quality site plan. All staff comments were satisfactorily addressed, and which resulted in this site plan. The site plan contains all information outlined in the technical criteria checklist that we give out to applicants. No drainage report was required because they're not changing the drainage or any of the grading on site. In fact, they're going to improve it by putting that mound in on the north side, and then up in the upper northwest corner, they're going to install a small water quality holding tank, so any oil, gas that could be running off the site would go into that water quality tank before it would hit the ditch. So right now, I think it just kind of flows. I don't think it flows into the Hillsborough, but they said it does flow into their ditch between Dove Valley and the site. Here's the landscape plan. I realize it's sort of small, but our landscape code is actually pretty stringent, and they did meet it with all the trees that were required. So, and then they have, I wish I had a pointer, but they have shrubs and grasses and large boulders on either side of the entries. And they will be irrigating it with drip irrigation. So criteria for approval, all the information required on the site plan is shown. The lot size and dimensions are consistent with the type of business. No buildings or structures infringe on any easements. The proposed site grading is consistent with the requirements of the town master drainage plan. Density and dimensions shown conform with our density and dimension standards. And the applicable community design principles were addressed. So staff recommends approval of the application with the following suggested condition: that all proposed improvements be in place within 6 months, or if landscaping can't be in this fall, then they have until spring. At the regularly scheduled meeting on August 2nd, the Planning Commission also recommended approval. They added a condition that the actual location of the ditch be shown on the site plan as it relates to the right-of-way that the ditch sits in, and they did add that to the plans, and it was on that first site plan I showed you. The ditch actually sits quite a bit to the south of the right-of-way, so it sits very close to the Frank property. They've always had an agreement that they keep it clear for any maintenance. Most of the maintenance happens on the north side of the ditch, but if anything did need to happen on the south, they keep that clear. And the fence that they're proposing does not impede that at all. So that is all I have. Do you have any questions for me? Yes. Linda first.
I noticed in the post-approval action, it says a certificate of occupancy will be issued once all improvements are in place.
I think that's a formality, because obviously they occupy the site, but a formal certificate of occupancy will be given once all the improvements are signed off on, which will clean up.
That seems kind of redundant.
Mm-hmm. We have to keep those on record when site plans are approved.
So one of the citizens' complaints were about the lights at night. Have those been adjusted? Don't want to continue getting that complaint?
You know, we have had no complaints lately, and we asked Gary at Planning Commission, or somebody asked him why nobody here after all the complaints that we got, and he said, I don't know if they've cleaned up the site or what it was. So I haven't heard anything about the lights lately, but I could check into that if we need to.
One of the complaints was also about noise.
Mm-hmm.
What else will help mitigate noise? Anything?
I don't really think anything. I think that will help. But I mean, other than a sound wall, which I don't know.
I think a
So-
9-foot fence will help keep lights out of the residential.
They have a little mound and then a fence, so it'll be 9
1-foot
feet.
mound plus 8 feet. 9 foot.
And they do have some trees along that ditch.
Yeah.
I think there's only 4, but deciduous trees with the canopy will help absorb. So I mean, it will get better. I don't think you can take 100% of the noise out.
No, but if it gets better. Okay, thank you.
And that should help the light as well. They also have trees all along that west side. They really heavily have shown trees along the west side, so that will also should help the light.
Is the privacy fence going all the way around the property or no?
So they have the existing fence on the west side, and then they'll add the new fence to the north, and then we've had them bring it down on the sides to the entranceways. So it'll kind of be like a C around the site, but it won't be down on this bottom corner.
And then the actual corner of Inez and.
Yeah, so you can kind of keep that office open, and if they ever wanted to put up a sign or anything, you know, they have that kind of clear vision through there. And they do have some existing trees on site and, that we took into account. We just gave it a 1-to-1 ratio, because the code doesn't really speak to existing trees and how to treat them. Usually you would have, like, if it's a 14-inch caliper, it's counted as 2 trees or something, so we just counted them each as 1.
Any public, citizens' questions, comments? Crickets. It's 6:50, and I'm gonna close the public hearing in consideration of approval of site plan application for property in the C4 Service Business Zoning District.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion. After review, the Board of Trustees find that the documents presented and set forth in the staff report and the commercial site plan application for 1169 and 1189 South Pointine Avenue meets the provisions of the Land Use Code and approves resolution number 17-21, approving the Frank Brothers site plan for property located at 1169 and 1189 South Pointine Avenue, Milliken, Colorado.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Town clerk, please call for the vote.
Trustee Austin?
Yes.
Trustee Lee Early?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Nickerler?
Yes.
Trustee Burak?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Meisner?
Yes.
Mayor Woodcock?
Yes. For action item number 3, the town board will adjourn as the board of trustees and convene as the liquor licensing authority. Action item number 3 is consideration and approval of a hotel and restaurant liquor license renewal for El Mexical Family Mexican Restaurant. With the town clerk, Cheryl Powell.
Yes, Mayor and trustees. Laura has requested a liquor license renewal for El Mexico Mexican Restaurant for August 26th of this year through August 26th of 2018. The application appears to be in compliance, and no liquor violations have occurred at the premise from August 2nd of 2016 through July 19th of this year.
Any other questions from you guys?
Motion?
Make a motion.
I move to approve the renewal of the hotel and restaurant liquor license for El Mexical Family Mexican Restaurant located at 1760 Broad Street, Unit L, Milliken, Colorado, for the period of August 26, 2017 until August 26, 2018. Second.
Town clerk, please call for the vote.
Yes, sir. Trustee Lee Early?
Yes.
Trustee Austin?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Mayor Woodcock?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Meisner?
Yes.
Trustee Lee Early?
Yes.
I'm sorry, Trustee Nickerl?
Yes.
Trustee Burak?
Yes.
Did I get everybody? I lost track. Okay, please, so. Sorry.
For item number 4, we'll stay on. Well, number 4 will stay on as the liquor licensing authority. And, consideration and approval of alcohol tastings permit application for Milliken Liquors.
Yes, sir. Again, the Milliken Liquors, which is now being, liquor licenses is being transferred to a new owner, has requested a tastings permit, which we've offered tasting permits to Milliken Liquors in the past. Actually, they're the first and only place in town that has had tastings. So they requested a tastings permit for the year from August 2nd this year through August 2nd of next year.
Any questions? Need a motion?
I move to approve the alcohol tasting permit application for Milliken Liquors, 811 Broad Street, Milliken, Colorado, for the period of August 2nd, 2017 until August 2nd, 2018, as long as the retail liquor store's license for Milliken Liquors is active and in compliance with the laws of the state of Colorado and the town of Milliken's municipal code.
Have a second?
Second.
Town clerk, please call for the vote.
Mayor Woodcock?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Meisner?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Austin?
Yes.
Trustee Lee Early?
Yes.
Trustee Nickerl?
Yes.
Trustee Burak?
Yes.
Time 6:55. The liquor licensing authority adjourns and reconvenes as a town board. And we have nothing else on the agenda. So, at 6:55,
Move to adjourn.
second.
Frank showed up too late. We turned him down.
Yeah.